Today, Mike Johnson put out a Facebook post calling tomorrow's No Kings protests Hate America rallies. And this is part of a coordinated effort to paint anybody on the left, anyone who opposes the Trump regime, as dangerous, violent, radical, a threat to American society. And they have really been working hard to convince Americans that we are the dangerous ones for simply protesting, for simply using our First Amendment right, speaking out, and actually trying to preserve democracy, preserve our rights, and make sure that all Americans are they have the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. But I know that this rhetoric is not working, and I do believe that it's going to backfire on them significantly. Because anyone on the left who has been involved in any kind of activism or who has just scrolled through the local news comments whenever there's a protest knows that most people who support Trump, most Republicans that don't like what we're doing, they don't see us as a threat. They don't see us as dangerous. In fact, they think we're pathetic. They think that there's not many of us. When we show up to protests, it's very small numbers and we're just having a big party and, you know, they don't really get it. But they don't see us as a threat. They'll say things like, wow, all 12 people showed up. Or look at those, a bunch of old white hippies. Wow, a bunch of jobless losers. Get back to your mom's basement. And these comments used to really bother me, mostly because they would be making fun of our numbers and we would literally have like 500 people that came out. But now I actually really like seeing those comments because it shows me that they aren't buying the rhetoric of MAGA. They're not buying this claim that the left is so dangerous and that we hate America so much that we're willing to resort to violence because we hate America. I've started realizing that with my situation and where I live, for those that are just kind of stumbling on this video and haven't been watching me for a while, I live in the second reddest district in the United States. And we have been constantly protesting outside of our Congresswoman's office, who is very, very MAGA, who is right up Trump's. And I recently put out a video where our Congresswoman walked out of her office while we were talking. And we asked her for a town hall. When are you going to hold a town hall? When are you going to listen to us? And she turned around and she threatened us with DOJ retaliation. We want a town hall, Diana. When are you going to give us a town hall? When are you going to actually talk to the people? When are you going to actually start representing us and stop being a traitor to the United States of America? Okay. Hello. Hello.
What I do is consider you a security risk.
Okay.
And they know who you are.
Okay.
And the Department of Justice will soon find out.
Okay.
Okay.
We're a security risk for standing out here and exercising our constitutional rights. Thank you, Diana. Thank you so much for the sound clip. Standing here peacefully, holding a sign. And she was pretending as though she was so afraid. She had police escort walk her out to her car from her door because she wants to paint us as dangerous, as a threat. She called us a security risk. But I happen to know that it isn't the left that has called for violence against her and her staff, and that it isn't the left that has actually threatened violence against her and her staff. I heard a story that a man pulled a gun on one of her staff members, I think a couple years ago, during one of their mobile offices, and a man walks in with a gun and points it at Diana's staff member. And this man was not on the left. This man was a right-winger who felt Diana was not right-wing enough for him, not MAGA enough for him. To my knowledge, nobody on the left has ever pulled a weapon on Diana or her staff. Nobody has threatened them with physical violence, but they have been threatened with a weapon by the right wing. And that tells me that while Diana and her Republican colleagues and everyone on the right wing, while they are desperately trying to paint the left as violent and dangerous, they know that the real violence comes from their side. And I've realized that my Congresswoman stays in her lane, doesn't listen to us, and doesn't turn on Trump because she is way more afraid of the right-wingers, the MAGA people, that are violent. She's way more afraid of them turning on her than us. And so she has to pretend like we are violent with chalk and signs, asking for a town hall. But she knows that we're not. I think that that is probably a pattern with the GOP right now, that they are actually afraid of their own voting base, so much so that they will completely deplete themselves of any integrity and empathy, and they will refuse to represent the majority of the people in their district because they are scared of that small group of violent right-wingers that they know will come after them if they turn on Trump and they turn on MAGA. And I think that they are so afraid of the turnout at No Kings tomorrow because it is expected to be historical turnout. And at our last protest, our No Kings protest, I think there were around 2,000 people. So I think that MAGA is terrified of the numbers, of seeing the representation of the power of the people in the streets. And that is what's so important about protest. I talk about this a lot, about how protest is important, but it's not the only thing we need to be doing. We need to be resisting and disrupting in so many ways. But protest shows them just how many people are fed up. And they use that as a gauge to know how far they can go, what they can do, how much pushback are they going to get. The same thing with calls. I've been encouraging people to call our congresswoman all week long. I have put in this kind of coordinated effort, this campaign to get everyone to flood the lines. And there are people that say, calls don't matter. They don't work. They do. They do matter, just not in the way that you think. Because when you call, you're showing them that there's one more person, 5 more people, 10 more people that are pissed off and fed up. There's more of us than them, and we are very angry. And we don't have to resort to physical violence. We don't have to grab weapons and go to the Capitol. We have much more creative, strategic ways to disrupt what they're doing and to stop them. And it takes a little longer, but it's more effective in the long run. And I think about the fact that my congresswoman stopped showing up to her office because she's so sick of the chalk, calling the local police, bothering them. They come and affirm our rights. And so now the local police aren't really on our side because they're getting annoyed that they keep getting called for nothing over peaceful protest. And I've heard of staff quitting. She's not answering calls. She won't hold a town hall. Her comment section is flooded with angry people, and not just people on the left, Republicans too. I see people comment things like, I am so ashamed to call myself a Republican because you're not representing us. And so there is this growing frustration against the congresswoman, and she has constant calls. She has people showing up at her office, knocking on her door. The other day, she snapped and yelled at someone who was knocking on her door. She's like calling the cops to escort her out. She is frazzled, and her staff is quitting, and she can't get things done if she doesn't have staff, if she doesn't have the support of the people. And so she's kind of in this really tough spot, and her work is disrupted because of it. And so when people say, your chalk doesn't work, she's not going to change her mind. I'm not trying to change Diana's mind. I mean, I would love it, but I know she's not going to change. What I do know is that my chalk has gotten more people involved. It's gotten more people to come out and actually do some civic engagement. People who have never protested, have never done anything, that grabbed some chalk and do it. And they're like, man, this felt good. I think I'm going to do it again. And then we invite them to join Indivisible. And now we have somebody new in the resistance. When people drive by and they see it, they're reminded that they're not alone, that there are other people that are resisting too. And they come up to us and they say, thank you so much. Please keep doing this. That boosts morale. It inspires hope in people. And when people have hope, they take action because they think that they actually can do something and get something done. When we see her staff quitting and her hiding from us, that means that what we're doing is working. It's just not working in the way that a lot of people assume it should work. But resistance is about disrupting the system. And it's about making sure that they can't keep doing the things that they're doing. And if they do, we're going to be there every day to make their life a living hell, and not with violence. Because hell to them is being faced with the truth. That's it. That's their hell. Their hell is being faced with the truth and faced with the people that pay their salary, that is pissed off and done. paying into a system that does not benefit them and only benefits the top 1%, benefits corporate America, benefits Trump, benefits our congresswoman who's on a paid vacation right now while our taxes are still coming out of our paychecks and all of our benefits and everything has been cut. What do we get out of that? Our system is very unique, and they call it an experiment, the American experiment, because it's an experiment. But the thing about our system is that it only works if we are all active and engaged. The point of the founding of the United States of America, the point of the Constitution was for all of us to participate in democracy. Because if we're all participating, we all get a say, we all keep things running, and then nobody can get to the top and abuse us and take advantage of us. We get our freedoms, we get our rights. We get to have the American dream that all of us want. And if we all get involved and all actually start working, then we can have the system we want. It's not a failed experiment, and it's not over until it's over. But that's why we have to get involved now. So if you feel like it's useless, it's pointless, or you're afraid because they're painting us as dangerous and you don't want to get arrested, or you don't want to, experience violence against you, that's all valid. But at the same time, it's all a show. It's all a bit. And they're not as powerful as a lot of us give them credit for. And I don't mean to diminish their ability to cause a lot of damage, because they are causing a lot of damage. There's a lot of cruelty and they've harmed so many people. People have died because of this regime. People have had their lives ruined. People have lost everything, their family members, their lives. So not to diminish that, but at the same time, we have the power. We are the people. There are 380 million people in this country. So we can stand up and we can do this. But if we're too scared, if we're too apathetic and we don't, then they literally get what they want, and they don't really have to do much more than just do what they do. Just do whatever they want to do because nobody's fighting back. Don't let them. And just keep showing up. Be joyful. Don't be violent. Don't feed into the narrative. Wear your frog inflatable costumes, bring your chalk, dance, sing, bring bubbles, and then show the world who you are. Because the people who are protesting, the people who don't like what's happening, are people that love their country. They're people who want empathy and kindness and compassion. They want equality and diversity. They want everyone to have equal opportunities. They want to make sure that our kids are fed and well educated, and that we have insurance so that in the richest country in the world, we don't die because we came down with an illness we couldn't afford to fix. Those are the people. That's Antifa. So don't let their rhetoric scare you from participating in No Kings tomorrow. Show up and stand for your country and show the world that we are not dangerous, we are not violent, that we are peaceful, we love America, and we don't like fascism.